Okay, we're going to start. Okay, so it's ILTS, and it's part 3 with a few questions. That was sent. Okay, so let me just write here -4. Okay, let me find it. It is ITL, okay, speaking, topics and questions. And this one is clothes. We're going to talk about clothes first. Clothes. Okay, so the first one says, let me just screenshot this. Can clothing tell you much about a person? Part. Okay. Okay, I'm going to type the question for you. So this is what we were sent. ILTS part 3 questions. The first question is, can clothing tell you much about a person? Okay, Con, now you need to answer.
For this question, I strongly disagree. Because some bad people can wear very good clothes, but temperament will tell you much about a person. I think that.
Temperament?
Yes.
What's temperament?
Temperament, like
Example?
I think like
Are you talking about your thinking? How you think?
I think temperament just tell you much about the person.
Temperament tells you about a person. What is temperament then?
Temperament, like people have a good temperament.
Can you explain? Say you see a friend. Now your temperament tells you he's a good person. What? How?
They can play with me very happy and
Okay. All right. Okay, fair enough. Okay, good try. Thao, what do you think? Can clothing tell you much about a person?
I think that dressing style can tell you about the lifestyle of a person. For example, a person with tidy clothes can express their good, and also
Thao, it's very difficult to hear you. There's lots of shouting in the background.
Sorry, that's what the unable get.
Okay, do you want to try again?
I think that clothing can express a person's lifestyle because, for example, if a person's with tiny clothes, that they can express that they are good, and also a tiny person.
A tiny person?
Tidy.
Oh, a tidy person. Yes, okay. Okay, so you say yes, it can tell you about a person. Okay, so Con, I'm going to type yours now. So can clothing tell you much about a person? Okay, well, in some cases, clothes can tell a lot about a person. However, one has to be careful to not stereotype people based on their clothing. A person's clothing can give you clues into the type of job they have, or what they do for various activities. So for example, I can judge a person on how neat they are when I see them in their clothes. So I can say, okay, that's dirty, there's a button loose, or there's a hole in it, or it's torn. He doesn't really care how he looks. So that's why you mustn't stereotype people. Sometimes there's a tear, or sometimes something is dirty, but that doesn't say that they are dirty or they are untidy. Life happens. Sometimes they're in a rush. They couldn't change their shirt. Sometimes there weren't any water or electricity, so they couldn't wash another shirt. Had to go with a stain on their shirt. You can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a person on how they look. There's the richest people on earth with loads of money in America. If you see them on the street, it looks like they're sleeping in the bush. They don't wear clothes or designer clothes. They're not fashionable. So yes, we can say that. And we can also slot in with Khan and say to Khan, yes, Khan is saying no. I don't think clothing tells us much about a person. However, because some people are fashionable, some people aren't. Some people will go with high heels. Other people will go barefoot. Okay. So another option, another answer, we can say no, like Khan said. I don't think the clothing of a person tells much of a person, except only how fashion conscious they are. Some people like fashion, other people don't. He or she really is. However, we can also slot in here, sometimes the clothing of a person provides a special clue. That's what we said earlier in the first answer. To what a person does, or your job does for his or her job. Okay, so we can say in some cases, let me change that. In some cases, clothes can tell a lot about the person. However, one has to be careful not to stereotype people based on their clothing. Sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes you haven't been home. You have to take double shifts, or you forgot clothes, or there wasn't water. the next day when you see that person, the person will look great. Clothing can give you an idea of that person's day, of what they are wearing. They're a police officer, they work with oil, they work with machines, they work under a car, they work with grass. So you can see how they dress. They work in the office. So I don't think it tells you much. I don't think you must judge. My personal opinion, I won't judge somebody on clothes. If I see you for a whole week or 2 weeks with dirty clothes and not washed and stinks, then I can start judging and say, yes, that's a trait. That person is always like that. But once or twice, I won't judge. I don't think it tells us much. Okay, Khan, you can make an answer in your head. You can take any answer here and make your answer. Thou as well. Okay, so let's start again. Khan, tell me again. Can clothing tell you much about your friend or a person?
Read yours or mine.
No, don't take mine. You can take mine, but I want you in your head to make your own. You can use ideas. You can use ideas from thou, from me, from whoever, but make your own answer in your head, okay? Because that's how you will remember it. You won't remember mine. Mine is my opinion. You can take ideas from mine or words if you want to use it, but I want you to make your own little answer in your head, okay? That's how you will remember it. Okay, so tell us again, Khan. No reading. Tell us from your heart.
But can you understand the word temperament?
You can use temperament if you want to.
Okay. I disagree with these questions because
No, wait. You don't disagree with the question. It's not a statement. It's a question. You need to answer the question. You can't disagree with the question. Can clothing tell you much about a person? Then you say yes or no, and you say why. You can't disagree with a question. It's a question. It's not a statement, okay? So I disagree, or my answer is, or in my opinion, it's no. And then you tell us why.
No, I don't think so, because the clothing of a person's just tells how their fashion conscious of he or she really is. And just temperament can tell you about the person.
Okay, now remember, temperament is the nature of the person. Okay, so the nature of the person you think will tell you how the person is. But now listen carefully. What is the question? The question is, can clothing tell you much about a person? It's not what can tell you about a person. Now, the examiner wants your answer on why or why not clothing tells you much about a person. They're not asking what can tell me about a person, and you are telling me temperament. So temperament shouldn't be in your answer, because they don't want to know what. They only want to know about clothing. Can clothing, and you have to be able to state your answer by saying yes and no, and then 1 or 2 reasons why. Okay? Temperament is your opinion, but they're not asking that. They're not asking for what you judge people on. So you must listen carefully to the question. Can clothing tell you much about a person? Yes and no, or no, because some people are fashionable, some people are not. Some people is fashion conscious, some aren't. But however, I think that clothing can tell us about what kind of job or activities that person do on that day. They're not asking you what do you judge people on, and you say temperament, okay?
Yes.
Okay, try again. Can clothing tell
Mm.
you much about a person?
No, I don't think so. The clothing of a person just provides only how their fashion consists of
Conscious, fashion conscious. That
conscious,
means, yeah.
conscience of she or he really is. Um, but sometimes the clothing of that person uh, will uh, will tell you what job does he or she do.
Okay, Thao.
Well, in some situations, clothing can provide some information about a person, but however, one has to be careful that don't judge a person based on their clothes. Uh, Clothing sometimes can give you information about a person's job or what they did for various activities.
Okay. Khan, let's try again. Can clothing tell you much about a person?
No, I don't think so. The clothing of the person just tells how they fashion consists of he or she really is. But sometimes the clothing of that person will tell you a special clue to what job does they do.
Okay, Thao, can clothing tell you much about a person?
Well, in some cases, clothing can give information about a person. However, one just have to carefully that will not judge people based on their clothes. And sometimes clothing can give a clue to the jobs that a person have or what they did for various activities.
I just want to listen to your answers again. Some answers, words I want to take out. Okay, I'm going to put us down here so I can move this to the side. Okay, let's have a look at question 2. Why do companies ask their staff to wear uniforms? Now, uniforms are clothes, they must all look alike. They must wear red shirts and black pants, or green shirts with yellow ties and jeans, or depends on the job. Why do companies ask their staff to wear uniforms? Thao, what's your answer on this?
Um, I think that some company has unique uniform for their staff. So when someone see a person, it's clearly that um, um, they can say clearly that that person is from any company is popular with that uniform.
Okay, what about you, Khan?
I think companies ask their staff to wear uniforms because to make them easier to recognize and make them look cleaner and neater.
Okay. Companies generally ask their staff members to wear uniforms mainly because they want to ensure uniformity, so that they are a unit. They are, when you think about that person, you think about the company. So it's a uniformity. It's a unit across all levels of their staff members. So it's not just the CEO that's fancy or smart, but the person cleaning doesn't look smart. Companies ask them mainly because they want to ensure uniformity across all levels of their staff members, not just the people that's got the important jobs. This is done either, they do this either to help employees identify with their companies or to boost morale at all levels of their staff members. Okay, this is done either to help employees identify with their company. So you can identify them with the company. So when I walk to get some lunch, people can see who I work for. So they identify me with the company, or to boost morale at all levels. Morale means I feel just as important as the guy that's doing a more important job than me, or that gets a higher salary than me. So it's a boost, they boost the morale. Everybody thinks they're important because everybody wears the same. There's no discrimination. So they boost the morale at all levels of their staff. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here, Khan?
Yes.
Okay, Thao, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they want to ensure uniformity, or they want to make sure people identify the company by what I'm wearing. Oh, you work for McDonald's. Or, oh, you work for KFC. Now, the person that works for KFC, the one that cleans KFC, and the one that cooks the burger, and the one that helps the customer in front, they all wear the same clothes. So they boost moral support levels, that everybody feels important in the job, not just the one that helps the customer or the one that gets all the money, or the CEO or the boss. Everybody has the same, which is nice because then everybody feels important. Okay, Khan, I want you to make your answer in your head. You can use some of my words. You can use now ideas that I'm throwing out for you is they form uniformity, so they form a unit. You can identify them so that you know exactly who they are from, or you can boost morale on all levels so everybody feels important. You don't have to use those words. You can use any other words if you want to.
Companies always ask their employees to wear uniforms because they want to make a uniformity in all level of the staff.
They want to create, not make, they want to create uniformity across all levels.
Because they want to create uniformity across all levels of the members. And the company want to make them easier to identify and look them become more cleaner and neater.
Okay, but some of your words aren't, okay, say it again. I want to help you with some grammar. Some of your words and grammar is incorrect. Okay, try again.
Companies always ask.
Not always. Not always. Usually, sometimes, generally, but not always. Not every company asks that. So you can't say always.
Companies usually ask their employees to wear uniforms because they want to create uniformity across or levels of their members. Also, they want to make the companies want to make them easier to recognize and the staff will become more cleaner and neater.
I want to make them more recognizable.
They
I want
want
to ensure that they are recognizable, or you can say they want to ensure that they are identified or associate. So you can actually associate it with the KFC or associate it with something. So they want to ensure that they are. Do you want to use the word identify? They want to ensure that they are identified with the company, and that they always look clean and neat. Is that your sentence?
Yes.
They want to. Okay, read this again, Khan.
Companies usually ask their employees to wear uniforms because they want to create uniformity across all levels. They want to ensure that they are identified with the company and that they always look clean and neat.
Okay, that's Khan. Okay, Thao, tell us yours.
I think that companies often ask their staff to wear uniform because they want every level of the staff members to wear the same clothes, which will boost the morale of all levels of employees.
Okay, say it again.
Companies usually ask their staff to wear uniforms to make everyone in the company look the same. This not only help these employees to be identified with their company, but also boost morale in all levels of their staff members.
This not always, I don't understand that. Okay, let's try again. I'll type it for you. There's some errors there. Okay, let's try again. Say it again.
Companies usually ask their staff to wear uniform. Because they want to ensure that everyone in the company wear the same type of clothes.
But that is a uniform, that everybody wears the same clothes. So you can't say because. Companies usually ask their staff to wear uniforms. Why? Because you want them all to look the same? They want to ensure that everyone looks the same to establish uniformity. You can't say companies usually ask their staff to wear uniforms because they all need to look the same. That is what a uniform is. So that can't be a reason. Reason must be uniformity, or to identify them against the company, or to boost morale so that everybody's on the same level. I can't hear you, Thao.
Ensure that everyone looks the same to establish uniformity. I have no idea.
Companies usually ask their staff to wear uniforms because they want to ensure that everyone looks the same to establish uniformity, as well as to boost morale at all levels of their employees. That's what you can say, Thao. I'm going to try again.
Morale.
Thao?
Company usually ask their staff to wear uniform because they want to ensure that everyone looks the same to establish uniformity as well as to boost morale at all levels of their employees.
Yes, there we go. That's a good answer. Okay, let me just save here. Okay, Khan, can clothing tell you much about a person?
No, I don't think so. The clothing of the person just provides how the fashion concerns he, he or she is. But sometimes the clothing of a person will tell you about what job does they do.
Okay. Thao, can clothing tell you much about a person?
Well, in some cases, clothing can give some information about a person. However, one has to be carefully not to judge people based on their clothes. And sometimes clothes can give a clue about the job that the person have or what did they do for various activities.
Okay. Khan, why do companies ask their staff to wear a uniform?
Companies usually ask their employees to wear uniforms because they want to create uniformity across all levels. With the company, uh, uh, they want to ensure that they are identified with the company and that they always look clean and neat.
Okay. Thao, why do companies ask their staff to wear uniforms?
Company usually ask their staff member to wear uniform because they want to ensure that everyone looks the same to establish the uniformities as well to boost morale at all levels of their employees.
Okay. Khan, why do companies ask their staff to wear a uniform?
Companies usually ask their employees to wear uniforms because they want to create uniformity across all levels. They want to ensure that they are identified with the company that they always look clean and neat.
Okay. Thao, why do companies ask their staff to wear a uniform?
Company usually ask their staff to wear uniform because they want to ensure that everyone looks the same to establish the uniformities as well as to boost moral at all levels of their employees.
Okay. Khan, can clothing tell you much about a person?
No, I don't think so. The clothing of the person just provides only how they are fashion conscious of he or she is. But sometimes the clothing of a person will tell you a special clue